Now let us move to quantum mechanical model. Here I am going to explain quantum mechanical model along with comparing that with Bohr model. So huge difference between Bohr model and quantum mechanical model is the understanding of atom. So quantum mechanical model believes that electron is a wave. That of Bohr model believes electron as a particle. So quantum mechanical model is not ruling out that electron is not a particle, but it is more like a wave. When we consider electron like a wave, then many phenomena can be explained very well. For example, structure of atom can be explained very well there. So now let us try to understand quantum mechanical model. We know that Bohr model says that nucleus at the center and electron revolving around the nucleus in circular orbit, that is called as K shell. So shell number n equal to 1, number of electrons he said 2 electrons, and K shell, okay, shell number K, shell name is K. Now what quantum atomic model believes, here we have to consider electron as a wave rather than a particle. When we consider electron as a particle, then electron must be moving here. At that time this particular area is empty. This is what we have to believe, because particle cannot be existing at multi locations. When I consider electron is here, then this all area must be empty because electron is particle there. But when I understand that in terms of quantum atomic model, then electron is moving fast and it is like a wave. If it is like a wave, then what happens? It must be present everywhere. For example, if light waves are traveling, so we cannot say that light is present at some location. We say that light is present in entire room. What does that mean? It means that wave can be said that it is present in multi locations. That means it is present at some volume rather than saying at some particular location. So here, if I consider this as the nucleus, now that electron, let us say I'm constructing an atom. Then if one electron comes, then what happens? At particular distance from the nucleus, it will start revolving around the nucleus in a spherical manner, not in a circular manner. When I say circular manners, then again it is telling us that what is present above that circle and below that circle. So we cannot go with your solar system method. So here we have to say that from optimum distance from the nucleus, electron is revolving almost everywhere in a spherical manner, and since it is now wave, it is present everywhere, and its movement is so fast that we cannot find out where the electron is. It is like if you look at moving rotating fan, so there you can see that we cannot see the blades of fan, because when it is off, that time we can see blades and in between gap. But when it is moving, that time what happens? You feel like blade is present everywhere. Similarly, electron is moving with the speed of almost light, then its presence will appear for us as a wave, and its presence will be everywhere, and it will look like, since it is moving fastly, it will look like some spherical ball or spherical fog type situation has happened around the nucleus. Now where the electron is present everywhere, because it is a wave, and we can regard it as we can consider it is present at multiple locations because it is a wave and it is moving in a spherical manner, and because of this movement some shape will happen. So that shape is spherical in nature. Now you may think like, why there is a particular optimum distance from the nucleus? Yes, to retain its identity, it has to maintain some distance from the nucleus, and that can be understood based on the repulsion between the electron and the nucleus. For that purpose, I would say that electron not only revolving around the nucleus, it also rotates on its own axis. And this, because of, if any charged particle rotates on its own axis, that will develop a magnetic field. If it is rotating like this, so it will develop a magnetic field. We know it is from the Earth's point of view also, Earth is a charged particle and it is rotating on its own axis. Because of that, magnetic field develops. So similarly, electron is also, while revolving, it rotates on its own axis, and because of that there are some magnetic field will generate, and this magnetic field might be making that electron to be little away from the nucleus. So this magnetic field may be keeping that away from the nucleus. So this particular charged particle is rotating as well as revolving around the nucleus. So here we have to understand this electron is wave-like and it is revolving in a spherical manner. Don't consider it as circular manner, it is a spherical ball type, spherical manner, and that electron is present. And where the electron is, this all wave, all this particular thing will be considered as electron, and it is moving in a spherical way. Where it is present, where Bohr's head as K shell, at the same position location this particular is present. So here we consider as the subshell of K shell as S. So we use small letter S as the symbol for this particular volume. Remember, K shell is a circular path and that of S is a spherical movement. So that means here we are considering volume. Spherical means it is using all the 3 dimensions. So shape of that is considered as spherical in nature, ball type, not circular, spherical. So if I consider nucleus and soon after that this particular wave is moving. Now it may appear circular here, but you remember ball type. Now how much electrons can be accommodated here? Let us say one electron has reached and it is moving like this. If one more electron, let us say, trying to enter the atom, since we are talking about construction of atom, now one more electron is coming, let us say. Now what happens? Definitely we know that electron wants to be having higher force of attraction with the nucleus. At the same time, there must not be any repulsion with the existing electron. So electron will try to be at the same distance from the nucleus as that of first electron, because that is the minimum distance attainable. Now what this electron will do, this electron will revolve at the same location that of earlier one, but it will rotate opposite to the earlier existing electron. Due to that, what happens, if one electron is rotating in this direction and the second electron which entered, it will be rotating in opposite direction and it will be now collectively now revolving around the nucleus. They are present now together. Why they are present together? Even if they are charged similarly, because their rotation is opposite to each other, it will make them magnetically attractive. Though they are electrically repulsive, it will make them magnetically attractive. So thereby, now they will be paired and they will be now considered as one pair, and they are revolving around the nucleus in a circular manner. So this is possible only when if they are rotating opposite to each other. That means that rotation, that spin got cancelled now. So now they are having magnetic attraction. So it is like South Pole, North Pole coming together. So their magnetic field gets attracted. So I would say there are 2 electrons. This is true that 2 electrons can be fitted inside that. So if I consider that as a 3D space, why 3D space? Because it is moving in a spherical manner. I represent that 3D space as one box like this, and that 3D space, 3-dimensional space, is called as orbital rather than orbit. When I say orbit, that is a circular path. When I say orbital, that is a 3D space, 3-dimensional space inside the atom. So if I consider this as the nucleus, and after some distance all this volume will be considered as the 3D space, and that will be considered as orbital. Orbital is 3-dimensional space inside the atom, where how much electron we can expect? 2 electrons. They must be having opposite spin. We have to show them like this. This indicates that they are in opposite spin. If I write like this, that means they are in same spin. So they cannot be present together with same spin. If you want to keep them together, then they must have opposite spin. So this is the first shell, and we consider this subshell as S, and maximum 2 electrons can be filled inside this. So this will becomes a electronic configuration. Earlier we used to write K as a shell and 2 electrons there, but now we have to write 1s2 where 1 stands. Now let us say third electron is trying to enter the atom. Since we are talking about construction of atom, let us say third electron is now trying to enter. Now we know that even the third electron also wants to be very near to the nucleus. Now if you assume that this electron also, if it goes to the same 3-dimensional space where already 2 electrons are present, now what happens? This particular electron, even if it tries to enter there, we know that already 2 electrons are revolving with opposite spin, opposite rotation. If third electron enters, then it has to have a rotation opposite to that of these two. And we know that only 2 opposite rotations are possible. One if I consider clockwise, another is anti-clockwise. So there is no other type of rotation exists. So that means this electron, whatever the rotation may be, this will be having rotation similar to one of the atoms. That means there will be a magnetic repulsion also along with electrical repulsion. So that means this third electron cannot enter the same three-dimensional space. Then what it will do, it will just again maintain some distance, optimum distance from the nucleus, making sure that even that repulsion is minimum between them, and now it will try to revolve around the nucleus in spherical manner. This is the third electron. So there is a distance from earlier 2 electrons. That is a distance which is minimum needed to make sure that repulsion is less there. And the fourth electron now enters. From this explanation we can easily understand that that fourth electron can enter this same three-dimensional area as that of third electron. Why? Because whatever spin that third electron was having, its opposite spin can be possible for fourth one. But this particular three-dimensional space comes under the second shell area, that is 2h upon 2 pi what Bohr said. So that's why I'll consider n equal to 2 as, we know that it must contain 8 electrons, so we consider it as L shell. But what quantum mechanical model says, it contains some subshell called as S, and which S stands for spherical. So there are 2 electrons revolving in a spherical manner. But we know that Bohr said 8 electrons are present. So 2 electrons are already taken care of. Now 6 electrons left. To make sure that all that 6 electrons are having enough, force of attraction with the nucleus, now we have to understand this through mathematical coordinates like this, x, y, and even assume that z is present there. Even if I keep, let's say, z here. Now what happens? One electron, if I put in x-axis, it will revolve around the nucleus axial manner like this. Remember, this particular revolution is not like spherical, it is axial along the x-axis. If I consider one electron here like that, and this is 5th electron I am talking about. Now if I talk about 6th electron, if it wants to come to same axis, then it has to reorient so that they become pair and they can revolve collectively. But if there is a chance at some other dimensions to be present the way it wants, without compromising with the distance from the nucleus, then it will try to go to some other dimensions rather than going to x-axis. Because you can see z-axis, y-axis are also present, because this electron is just revolving along the x-axis, y-axis and z-axis are remaining. So electron is not going to compromise the distance, because if it is compromising distance, then it will go to the same axis, because distance, if you increase the distance, then there will be a decrease in the force of attraction. If it is going away from the nucleus, that means there will be a decrease in the force of attraction. So since it is not compromising on that, so it can freely go to some other axis. Let us say after filling one electron in x-axis, now it is going to y-axis or z-axis, any axis is fine. So I'll keep z, so one more electron will be revolving here like this. The 7th electron will be revolving around x-axis, so around y-axis. So that means after filling 2 electrons in S or S in a spherical manner like this, 5th, 6th, 7th electrons are revolving axially in 3 different axes, because there are 3 different axes available. Now 8th electron has 2 options. One is it can revolve spherically, just going little away from the nucleus, or it can pair with any of these electrons. Pairing means it has to reorient its rotation, thereby it can revolve. So it will prefer that. Why? Because there it is not compromising distance from the nucleus. So Now after filling one electron in each dimension, now it can pair with the existing one electron. You can start with any of the axes. Let me just start with X, but you can start with Y or Z also. So I can keep one more electron at the same location because now they got paired, because their spin is now opposite to each other. Thereafter one more electron I can expect here, and the one more electron here. So 3 axes and 2 electrons each, that means 6 electrons. And this particular subshell is called as p subshell. So S is controlling or accommodating 2 electrons, and p shell accommodating 6 electrons in 3 different axes. Now you may think like why it is doing like that. See, this is mathematically proved. There is no experimental evidence for this. Now if you think of a situation, 2 electrons moving spherically, another 2 electrons moving spherically. If I keep other 6 electrons like that, then they will be going away from the nucleus. So nucleus won't be attracting them fluently or effectively. So if I go for other situation, like if I keep them in different axes, 2 electrons here but revolving in axial manner, 2 electrons here from the same distance from the nucleus, these 2 also same distance from the nucleus, and they are revolving like this, another 2 electrons also revolving like this. By doing so, what I have done is all the 6 electrons are from same distance from the nucleus. Difference is there in the different axes. By doing so, I am making sure that 6 electrons are present in equidistance from the nucleus. Only that axis is different, but all the 6 electrons are equidistant from the nucleus. So you may also think like why this did not happen in the initial stage, like in the 1s stage. We know when I consider nucleus, if you don't go to some extent, like if there is no enough distance or radius, then you cannot accommodate 6 electrons at that point. For example, this is the nucleus. Here you cannot accommodate 6 electrons. Maybe after some distance here you can accommodate 6 electrons because already some optimum distance is maintained. So that's why this p subshell you cannot expect in the first shell. Why? Because first shell means it is the shortest distance from the nucleus, and in that shortest distance you cannot keep 6 electrons because of that smaller distance they will be very near to the nucleus. There will not be much angle difference. Due to that you cannot expect p orbital in the first shell. But after reaching second shell, now the radius became significantly bigger. Now we can think of 6 electrons present in keeping in axial wave. So where p is having axial orientation. Now one more thing we have to understand here in the case of p subshell. If I only write p subshell here, we know x-axis traveling like this, y-axis electrons are traveling like this, and z-axis electrons are traveling like this. Now we know when they travel near the center, they will be having greatest repulsion with the existing electrons of these spherical electrons and these 2 spherical electrons. So due to that, what happens, if I consider, let us say 1, only I am considering x1, so they are revolving like this. But now what happens, when they travel near the nucleus, they will be facing some repulsion with the existing these spherical electrons and these spherical electrons. Due to that, what happens, their distribution, otherwise I would say the velocity of electron is not same now. So it is like if I am talking about, let us say nucleus is present here and electron is moving here. When it comes near the nucleus, it moves faster and slows down when it goes to corner, and moves faster here and slows down, faster, slows down, faster here and slows down. So unlike electromagnetic radiation, like visible light, X-ray, gamma rays, they have uniform velocity no matter where they are present because they are purely wave. But electron is not purely wave. It is behaving like a wave, but it is particle also. when I consider electron as a particle also, at that time its velocity can be slowed down at one position, it can be faster at another position, depending on what type of field it is feeling at that situation. So that's why the density, otherwise electron density, will be we know that, when something is moving faster here and slowing down here, moving faster here and slowing down here, so wherever it has retained for greater extent, its position will be appearing, otherwise its density will be appearing more at that location rather than where it has moved faster. If you think of a situation, if I use a let us say a stone, and if I tie that with a thread, and if I do like this, or if I do like this, then we know that one shape gets created there, like infinity or 8 type of shape gets created. Now in that case, if I make sure, try to imagine this, something is moving faster here and slowing down, faster here and slowing down, and it is happening repeatedly. And as a third person, if you look at that, now what you can see there is, wherever it is moving faster, there you feel like its presence is less. Wherever it is slowing down, there you feel like its presence is more, because it is retaining for greater extent. So for a third person, if you look at that, its presence more will be at the corners rather than at the center. So this is called as electron density. So electron density will be more at the corners and less at the center. If I use that as a observation, then I need to draw their structure, this one shape like this, like dumbbells. That means their presence is more at the corners and less at the center. So this indicates electron density more at the corners and less at the center, because center already containing spherical electrons there. So now I need to submerge these both shapes. One is, this is how they are orienting, this is how they are revolving, and this is where their presence is maximum. If I add these two, then I will get one ultimate shape, that is this one. So this shape is not only explaining us how it is revolving, it is also explaining its presence, its density more at the corners. Now don't believe that electron is going through the nucleus, it is not like that. This is actually, both the diagrams are submerged and made one diagram, indicating its movement is like this, and its presence maximum at the corners and least at the center. So otherwise, if you separately draw, then this is how they revolve and this is how they are present at the corners. So this looks like dumbbell, so that's why P is having shape of dumbbell shape. So it can be said like this. If I consider x1, x-axis, so then it will be drawn like this. If I am saying y, then it will be like this. If I am saying z, then that can be drawn like this, x, y and z. So this is one three-dimensional space, this is another three-dimensional space, and this is third three-dimensional space. So the three-dimensional space present along the x-axis is called as px, three-dimensional space present along y-axis is called as py, and that of this is called as pz. So you can see there are three different orbitals, different three-dimensional orbitals present at the same subshell. So this S I will write like this, and that of P I will write with three orbitals. This S is having one orbital where you can expect two electrons, that we already seen here with the red marker, and that of P can be written as Px, Py and Pz. So each box representing orbital or three-dimensional space, and these three collectively called as P subshell. So as I told you, electrons, all the three orbitals are equally approachable for an electron. After filling 2 electrons in 1s and after filling 2 electrons in this, now the fifth electron might have entered x-axis, y-axis or z-axis. So you can fill 1 electron anywhere in these boxes in the beginning, and once you fill 1 electron in that particular, let us say I am filling 1 electron here. Now the next electron won't go to the same orbital, because as I told you, if there is an opportunity to be present freely at some other dimension without compromising the distance from the nucleus, so then it will go to that dimension. So that means I can go for another orbital, and finally I can go to third orbital. So remember, this filling can be from X, Y or Z, because all the three are equally approachable as far as electron is considered. Because electron's point of view, you can see these three are equally approachable sites for them, because all the three are equal distance from the nucleus. But when we fill one electron in each orbit, now as I told you, it is having two options. Either it can go to maintain a separate distance, and thereby it can be revolving in a spherical manner, or it can now reorient and get placed at the same location. So the pairing can be done. Now again, pairing can be done from anywhere. So you can start pairing from anywhere. So what is needed here is filling one electron in each orbital first. You can start from any orbital, and there once it is done, one electron is filled, then you can start pairing them from again anywhere, because all the three are equally approachable situations. So both subshells S and P are present in second shell, so I will write them as 2s and 2p. So 2s contains maximum 2 electrons, that of 2p contains 6 electrons. This 2p6 can be written as 2px, 2py or 2pz, and if I'm writing like that, that means I'm writing orbital wise. So 2px2, you can see maximum 2, 2py2 and 2pz2. So if I'm talking about 2px or 2py or 2pz, I'm talking about orbitals. If I'm saying 2p6, that means I'm talking about subshell. So p subshell accommodates maximum 6 electrons, but any of... Now let us understand this by using 3 coordinates. As we know, quantum mechanical model is a 3-dimensional model. Here you have to remember, electron is considered more like a wave rather than a particle. Now when we consider electron as a wave, then what difference we have to understand inside the atom? Let us understand that part. You know, when fan is at rest, you can clearly see the blades there. If it is containing, let us say, 3 blades, then you can clearly see 120 angle difference between 3 different blades. But when it starts revolving or rotating, you can understand that gap as now filled by blades. It looks like blades are present everywhere. What does that mean? Because of the speed of that particular rotation, that empty spaces got filled now. So you feel like blades are present everywhere. But we know actually that is not the case. There is an angle difference between them. But that movement, that rotation made us to understand, us to consider that there is no gap. Similarly, here we have to consider electrons' movement. Now, one more thing you have to remember in the case of particle nature and wave nature is, think of a situation. If I am a particle, of course I am a particle, so I am present at this location at this time. I can't be present at this location at the same time. What does that mean? My mass becomes the fundamental property to locate or to identify, or for many factors, for many other properties, my mass becomes a very important thing, and my volume, how much I have occupied, that becomes the important thing. But think of a situation, an hypothetical situation, if I am present at multi-location in this room at the same time, then the important property becomes the density. What is this density? My mass, total mass, how many clones of myself is present inside the clones, that means I'm multi-locations, are present inside this room, divided by the total volume, how much I have occupied inside particular room. Then it becomes density. Maybe I'm allowed to move inside this room, maybe I'm allowed to move inside this room anywhere, but I'm only occupying, let us say, this much of position, and I'm just running here and there. But there are empty space present there also. That much volume is available for me to move, me to be present at that particular time, but I'm not going there, so I'm just only present at this particular location at that given time. In that case, what happens? Density becomes important thing. what I can understand is total mass. That means if I'm having 10 clones, 10 multiple locations at given time, then my total mass divided by how much volume was available for me to move. That becomes the density. Mass of mine at that all locations divided by how much volume was available for me to move. Then mass upon volume becomes density. So you can clearly understand that my density, I won't say my presence, my mass, I would say my density was maximum at this volume, at this space, and minimum at other space where I had the options to move, but I just only was present at this particular locations. I wasn't present there. In that case, I can say that my density is less over there and my density is more here. Similarly, I'm going to use now same fundamental principle here for electron. Electron is now, we are allowing that to move in a spherical manner rather than a circular manner, like Bohr said. Bohr said in the case of K orbit, K shell. So in that case, we have to remember K is a circular path. K shell or any orbit for that matter is a circular path. When I say circular path, you can look at clearly here. It is just using 2 dimensions. Okay, only 2 axes are used here. It is not at all as using 3rd axis. But when I say 3-dimensional revolution must be there for electron, that means it has to revolve everywhere. Now again, consider the movement or rotation of fan. When it starts moving, you find blades everywhere. Similarly, when electrons moving by using all the 3 dimensions, for that purpose I will use another model here. So this one. So think of a situation, electron is allowed to move inside the volume of this sphere. Okay, how much volume is there in this? Let us say that much volume is allowed for electron to move in a spherical manner, and it is moving in a rotating, revolving in a spherical manner. In that case, what we can understand, density of electron must be considered, not the mass, because it is moving. Think of fan which is moving, its blades are present everywhere. Similarly, electron is revolving around the nucleus in a spherical manner. Now all this particular, when it moves in a spherical manner, it will create a shape. That shape will look like this sphere. You must be knowing that if I tie a stone to a thread, and if I do like this, if I rotate like this, then there is a circular shape got created. If I do like this, then there will be a infinity type of shape will get created. So similarly, when electron is moving in a spherical manner, definitely this particular will be the shape that it will be creating. Now, as I told you, the question comes whether the sphere is uniform in terms of electrons density. Okay, so I've given you an example that I may be allowed to move inside the room, but I'm moving only at this particular location at given time. Then my density will be more at this particular position rather than the other position. Similarly, here we have to consider not the position of electron, here we have to consider the electron's density. Now the question comes whether electron is present everywhere in uniform density, or there is a difference. Yes, there is a difference. Okay, so density varies as you go away from the nucleus. How it changes, that particular thing will be studied in next part of quantum mechanical model. Right now, let us understand the shapes of electrons moving in different subshells. Then we are going to understand the density distribution also. So when I consider, okay, first one, electron moving in a spherical manner, so this much volume it is occupying. Now, as I told you, the second electron, when second electron enters, it will also occupying the same particular volume, same particular sphere, but now, as I told you, it will reorient, it will change its rotation, thereby it will now magnetically attractive to the existing electron, and they will get paired. Why they are getting paired? Because now they are magnetically attractive, though they are electrically repulsive. So once they get paired, so now they are occupying the same volume, collectively revolving around the nucleus in spherical manner. So you can't consider like one electron is here and another electron is here. No. So it is like fan is moving, then you cannot recognize which blade is where. So all the three blades appear same. Similarly, when two electrons are revolving, both the electrons move in a similar manner. Thereby you cannot recognize where one electron is and where other electron is. So you cannot say that, and collectively they are making a shape like this. So this can be understood as a s orbital where two electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Now once you consider that as and this particular space, what Bohr considered as a K shell. So when I say consider K shell, you can think of only two axes, and this particular you can say as a path where electron is present. Now look at the difference between Bohr model and quantum mechanical model. Electron is, now if you consider this line as the orbit, considering electron as only that path and considering electron as this particular entire sphere, there is a huge difference, right? Now when you consider electron as a particle, now you can, in that case you cannot assume this spherical shape. Why? Because when you consider electron as a particle, you are thinking of solar system where how planets are revolving around the nucleus. So that what comes to our mind. When Earth is present at some particular location, Earth cannot be present in other parts of that particular path. So because Earth is a particle, it is present at particular location. But in this case, we are considering not the circular revolution, we are considering spherical revolution, and its presence is there everywhere. Yeah, there is a difference in the density. Otherwise, I would say there is a difference in the distribution of electron inside this particular sphere. That part we are going to study later. Now, after two electrons got filled, and this is the area where I would say that K shell used to come. Otherwise, that h upon 2 pi, the distance, angular momentum, okay, can be found here. So that's why we can consider that is the first shell and where that subshell is present. Now remember, when I say subshell, do you think is there in a particular shell there? No, as such. But I would say, look at this particular line as an orbit. Then that is the K shell, and within that shell only this particular subshell is present. Third electron, after two electrons filling inside this spherical orbital. Now let us say I am going to use something called as orbital. Now what is orbital? Orbital is a three-dimensional space. Now sphere is a three-dimensional figure. So here we can understand electron is present in this particular thing. So this is called as orbital, and this path can be called as orbit. So that is the difference. Path is a two-dimensional, orbit is a two-dimensional indication, and that of orbital is a three-dimensional indication. So S orbital, I would say, K orbit, I would say. K is the orbit, this particular two axis, including two axes I can make a circle, and orbital S. So spherical is a three-dimensional space, orbital. Now there are two electrons. So now third electron, if I consider, where does it will go? So it can't go to the same volume where these two electrons are present. Why? Because that third electron will be definitely having a spin similar to that of existing these two electrons out of these two electrons. So then there will be a magnetic repulsion also along with electrical repulsion. So that's why what this third electron will do, third electron will come a little away from the nucleus, and that particular distance will be that where existing that two electrons and this coming third electron will be having a minimum electronic repulsion, and with the center there will be a maximum force of attraction because the center contains nucleus. So thereby it will create a proper distance from that, and then it will again revolve in a spherical manner. So again think of a bigger ball like this, bigger ball or having this much of distance, let us say. So why this much? Why? Because it has to now electrically repulsive as well as magnetically. Why? Because already two electrons got fixed up there with magnetical attraction. Now third electron can't be having the same spin, can't be having the third different spin. So already two different spin are existing there. So now maintain a small distance here, and then it will start revolving around the nucleus in a spherical manner, the way I have said here. Think of a bigger sphere, bigger ball there. So then definitely if I say one electron is revolving like that, now fourth electron if it comes, that can also revolve here. Now remember, when forget about the density, but if I say when one electron is present inside this sphere and the second electron comes, is there any difference in the shape? No. Why? Because when it is one electron, it will have the same shape. Even when the second electron also enters, that it will have the same shape. think of a fan which is having 4 blades and the fan which is having 2 blades, or fan which is having 3 blades. Do you think there is a change in the shape? No. So similarly, if there are 2 electrons here or 1 electron, shape will remain same. So this third and fourth electron will have a small gap in between, small distance from the nucleus, and that will have a bigger spherical shape here. Now that's why we have written 2s2 here. So 1s2, after that 2s2 comes. Now if you go like this, like in a spherical manner, you will be filling electrons like, you know, far away from the nucleus. So if nucleus is present here, 2 electrons here, 2 electrons here, 2 electrons here, 2 electrons here, or 2 electrons here, like this. So these 6 electrons will be going far away from the nucleus. So now what we have to understand here, after filling 2 electrons in a spherical shape, now other 6 electrons are not filled in a spherical manner, rather they are filled in as per their axis. Okay, so how it is? Let me just use this. Now we know this is x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. 2 electrons, I would say first, now let us say after 2 electrons in 1s and 2 electrons in 2s, now the fifth electron, it will revolve in, let us say, x-axis like this. Why I am saying x in this shape, I will let you know about that. Now it is moving in x-axis. Actually it is moving, think of that circular orbit. So it is moving like this, not going to z axis, only just moving in this particular xy in a circular manner, like say circular manner. But when I say circular manner, I need to consider its position has to be 3-dimensional. Now because of that only you can see its presence is like, you know, ball type only here also. It is not like a, you know, plain thing. Its presence is present in this particular quadrant as well as this particular quadrant also, here also and here also. Okay, only its presence is not there in this particular axis. Its presence is not there in, I would say, what is this, y and z. Its presence is not there in yz plane, but its presence is there in xz and xy plane. Okay, that's the reason why it is still a 3-dimensional picture. So now why I need to have this p orbital as, you know, dumbbell in shape? So since it is moving like this, revolving in axial manner, but as you know that center already having 1s electron and 2s electron, so these 2 electrons, you have 1 electron for that matter initially, won't be having higher presence at the center, and its presence will be more at the corner. So that's the reason why the shape like dumbbell appears there. So think of a situation, something is moving faster here and slowing down at the corner, faster here, slowing down at the corner. So it will appear like its presence or its density is more at the corners and less at the center, because whenever things moves faster, its presence will be appeared less there. Wherever it is slowed down, its presence will be appearing more there. So that's why at the center, it doesn't mean that electron is, that particular p electron is not present at the center. It is not the case. It is moving around the center or moving across the center, but there it is moving faster as compared to the corners. So that's why when it moves in the speed of light, the shape appears like this. So that's why it is called as dumbbell shape. So here, since it is in x-axis, I would call it as px. When you are considering this as in z-axis, then it will be pz. When you are considering it is in y-axis, then it will be like this. When you include all the three, then how it will appear? So it will appear like this. It will appear like this. So this is, let us say, as I told you, if you use this one, so you can see this one is, you know, py, the one which is towards you is pz, and this one will be px. So this is how they will be present. Now at the center their presence is less because already 1s and 2s orbital electrons are present. So this is how they are distributed in 3 dimension. You can observe this. So they are not colliding with each other. 6 electrons are from the same positioned from same distance from the nucleus. Now remember, there is no electronic repulsion. So they are at the different locations inside the inside the atom, and they are from the same distance. Now if you consider length from the center, so this length from the center is same as that of this length. If length is same or distance is same, the force of attraction will be same. So that means filling 6 electrons, okay, like this, if you fill 6 electrons like this, so they are going far away. So instead of that, you can fill electrons, okay, in 3 different axes. So thereby their distance is equal, they are equal distance. Now remember how to fill electrons here. As I told you that once 1s electron got filled, then 2s electron got filled. Now the 5th electron may go to, see, these shapes got already created because they are moving now. But think of a situation when you are talking about empty. When you're talking about, 5th electron is just entering the nucleus atom, then what happens? That electron is having option to revolve around x-axis, revolve in y-axis or in z-axis. Any axis is equally approachable for that. That's the reason why I've told you that you can fill electron in x-axis first or in y-axis first or z-axis, because anyway they will be having equal distance from the nucleus, so force of attraction is not going to compromise here. So that's the reason why for our 5th electron there is 3 different equal opportunities. So that's why when you fill electron in px, py and pz, you can fill anywhere. So you can fill anywhere. So that's why I was saying that, let's say I'm filling electron in let us say z. It is most obvious that we use always x in the beginning, y later, then z at the last. But it doesn't mean that you have to fill in that way only. This is also acceptable, because in electron's point of view, if you understand, for an electron these 3 positions are equal positions, equal opportunities. So that's why you can fill 1 electron here. The moment I fill 1 electron here, it will start revolving in a dumbbell manner. Now don't consider to create a dumbbell shape there must be 2 electrons. No, there is nothing like that. As I told you, even 2 blades fan also can have a same shape, 3 blades fan can also have a same shape, or 4 blade fan can also have a same shape. Similarly, even if 1 electron is present, it will have a dumbbell shape. Now it will be moving like this. Now the next electron won't go to the same place. Why? Because it has to reorient there, so that magnetically it become attractive. Now what it will do is it will go to the rest 2 positions wherever it is applicable, and because they are equally approachable, so it can go anywhere. So that's why I said anywhere you can fill 1 more electron. Don't put inside the same orbital. Why? Because as I told you, it has to reorient. So it is like, when a student enters the new classroom, he selects particular bench and he sits there. If one more student comes there, he won't be going for the same bench, or he will select some other bench and sit there. It's a human tendency that when we are very new to each other, we don't mingle much, so we select different positions and we'll sit there. If there is no fresh bench present, then the next person has to select out of whichever bench present, and whichever is most empty, then he goes there. So it is the human tendency. We don't know what is driving us to do that. Similarly, in the case of electron, we also have some repulsive or attractive force, though it is not visible to us. In the initial place, we just hate each other, and thereafter we just start attracting with each other. So similarly, here also same thing. When electron already occupied one of the axes, then it is having two empty axes. There it can go anywhere it wants. Once it fills that, then it can go to the third one. Once all the 3 axes are filled with one electron, now electron has option to move a little away from the nucleus or reorient itself and fill the same orbital. So what it will do, it will reorient and it will fill the same orbital. It is like, person, instead of sitting in the... Now let us move further. Once you fill 2 electrons in 1s, next 2 electrons in 2s, and next 6 electrons in 2p. So in the orbit you can fill 2 electrons in spherical manner, another 2 electrons in bigger spherical manner, next 6 electrons in dumbbell manner, the way I showed. Next what happens? Next the electrons will will be considered under third shell because they have extended to a level. Now as per Bohr model, that comes under third shell. So M shell as per Bohr model, and we know that 18 electrons can be filled inside that. So he did not say about their distribution, but quantum atomical model tells about the distribution of these 18 electrons. It says that these 18 electrons are distributed in 3 different subshells. So S, P and D. Here S and P is very similar to that of earlier subshells. That means S is spherical and P is dumbbell. And we have seen that S can occupy maximum 2 electrons. Otherwise S is a spherical ship where maximum 2 electrons can revolve. P is a situation where maximum 6 electrons can be filled into Px, Py or Pz manner. So similarly it will remain same. So 2 plus 6, 8. That means 8 electrons out of 18 got filled in S and P manner, and remaining 10 will fill in D manner. So now let us see what is D subshell. So here I am not going to write again about S and P, so that is very similar to that. But that of D we will see. Now as I told you, 2 plus 6, 8. Then 10 electrons we have to fill. So let me just show S and P very similar to that of earlier thing. That is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is how you have to fill. As I told you, 1 electron in each orbital first and then pairing. So next you can easily understand you have to fill 10 electrons. When we were to fill 6 electrons, we created 3 subshells, the 3 orbitals, and then filled like this. So remember, each box is called as orbital or 3-dimensional space. So Px is one orbital, Py is another orbital, Pz is another. So collectively called as subshell. Now if the question is like P subshell, then I am talking about all the 3 together. But when I am saying P orbital, I am talking about one of them. I may be talking about Px, I may be talking about Py or Pz. So remember the word orbital and subshell. These two are very different. Maybe not much difference you can see in the case of 1s, because P or S orbital or S subshell, if I say, no difference because both are containing 2 electrons. But when I say P subshell, remember maximum 6 electrons can be filled in P subshell, because subshell means all the 3 collectively called. So when I say P orbital, now each orbital, each box is considered as orbital. So maximum electrons can be filled in P orbital is 2, because when I say P orbital, I am talking about one of them. So here you can clearly understand, to fill 10 electrons, here you see to fill 6 electrons there are 3 orbitals, but to fill 10 electrons there must be 5 orbitals. Okay, 5 orbitals. And here also we have to fill electrons in this manner, filling one electron in each orbital, and then you can pair them. So remember, filling not necessarily should start from first, you can fill from anywhere. Similar to that of P, all the 5 locations, otherwise all these 5 3-dimensional spaces are equidistant from the center. We will see that with the model how they are distributed in the 3 coordinates. So these 5 orbitals are equidistant from the nucleus. So that's why electron can enter any of this orbital in the beginning. So what you have to make sure is filling one electron in each orbital is important. You can start from anywhere, no problem, because all the 5 orbitals are equally approachable as per electron's perspective, because all the 5 orbitals are equal distance from the nucleus. How we are going to place them, we will see that in the model. So I am going to fill, let us say, 1 electron here, next electron I will be filling here, next here, so then here, I can do that. So I can do till all that orbitals are filled by 1 electron. Then I can start pairing. Now the pairing can be done from anywhere. I can start pairing from here, I can start pairing from here, and then this one, and then. So you can do like this because all the 5 are equally approachable 3-dimensional locations inside the atom. Now what are they called as? Let me just write their name first, then I can show you in the model. So one is called as DXY, D for that particular subshell name, XY stands for plane. Let's see that. Another is DYZ, next is DXZ, next dx square minus y square, then dz square. So they are the names, the way we have written px, py, pz. Similarly, they are the names of the orbitals, dxy, dyz, dxz, dx square minus y square, dz square. So 2 electrons, 6 electrons here, 10 electrons here, so total 8 electrons. This is how electrons are distributed inside the shell M. Now let us see them in the model. You have to again here to assume one spherical shape for 1s, another bigger spherical shape for 2s, little bigger one, you just remember here, assume. Next 2p, that means this dumbbell shape you can think here along with this. So from that you can understand that distance is increasing. So after 1s, after 2s and then 2p, next is your this s will come. So that means 1s, 2s, then 2p distance, then you can think of a big spherical shape which is covering 2p also, otherwise bigger than the 2p orbital. Distance wise it is away from the nucleus. So then that is coming under third shell, so that's why it will be called as 3s. That will be called as 3s because it is bigger than the 2p orbital. Thereafter, once 3s completes in a spherical manner, next again think of p orbital, px, py, pz, bigger than the 3s also, bigger than 3s also. So then I can consider this as 3p. Remember, if I am considering a diagram like this, so this is 1s, then comes 2s, then 2p, then 3s comes, and then 3p comes. This is how the distance increasing. So whenever I say s, then spherical shape, you just imagine. So for 1s and 2s, you have to imagine spherical shape, how differ. So now let's understand this by using the model. Here, as you know, this is x-axis, z-axis and y-axis. If you start from the beginning, in the beginning you will have a small sphere that is of 1s. Thereafter a little bigger sphere that is of 2s. Then 2p comes, 2p in different 3 axis in a dumbbell manner. Thereafter we have to talk about this s. This is after 1s, 2s, 2p and this will come. So as the distance got extended to third shell, so that's why we will consider this as 3s, where 3 stands for the third shell, that space. So after 1s, 2s, 2p and that particular distance, you can think of a spherical sphere, which is there are 2 electrons revolving in a spherical manner. Then again after that little extension you have to think about 3p. Again 3p, 3px, 3py, 3pz, 3 different axes, so you can think with 3 different dumbbells. That 3 are 3 different orbitals. Now after that you have to talk about d orbitals. Since it is coming under third shell, we'll call it as 3d. So as I mentioned here, the names of them will be 3dxy, 3dyz, 3dxz, 3dx square minus y square, 3dz square. Now remember, this x square minus y square and z square are the different parts of coordinates. We will see that part thing. So you know this xy and yz and xz stands for 3 different planes. If I talk about this, you know this is x and this is y. So this is xy plane. This particular is xy plane. And this is yz plane. And this is z and this is x. So this one is xz plane. So there are 3 different planes. If I talk about y and x, that is xy plane, you can see 4 quadrants here. Now think of these 4 quadrants and we are going to use all these 4 quadrants. So shape of D will be double dumbbell. So dumbbell, we know there are 2 lobes in it. When I talk about double dumbbell, there will be 4 lobes. Now we have 4 quadrants. Think of 45-degree angle from the axis, maybe from here or from here, because this is 90 degree. If I divide that, this will be 45 and this will be 45 and this will be 45. So there will be 4 lobes or 2 dumbbells will be arranged like this. Here at 45-degree angle, you can have 1 dumbbell like this, 1 dumbbell like this and another dumbbell like this. Even if 1 electron entering this, still it will revolve in this manner. Don't consider like, you are talking about, let's say, I'm talking about XY plane where 4 lobes are present. in 4 different quadrants. Now even if an electron fills 3D xy orbital, maximum capacity is of 2, even if there is only one electron, still it will revolve in double dumbbell manner. That's the reason why that shape becomes important. If there are 2 electrons, anyway they will get paired and they will start revolving in double dumbbell manner. So how it is different from P? In the case of P, we know that is going in x-axis, y-axis and z-axis, but these are not in any of the axis, they are on the plane. So they are using all the 4 quadrants. Similarly, as I told you, YZ plane, XZ plane, same thing you can think of this 45 degree angle, and these 4 loops are arranged in this manner. If I draw it on board, it will look like this. So if I write X and Y, then that 4 loops or 2 dumbbells can be drawn like this. And similarly, I can also go for YZ plane, and one more is XZ. So there are 3 planes I can show like this. On a board you can show similarly and by changing the axis, but in 3 dimension you can easily understand where they belong. So in this case you can understand this is one plane and this is one plane and this is another plane. So in that way you can imagine there. So here all these 3 planes will be utilizing all the 4 quadrants of that plane and revolving in double dumbbell manner. Okay. As I told you, even if there is only one electron, it will also revolve in double dumbbell manner. So if there are 2, then they will get paired and they will revolve collectively. Okay. So this is about these 3 orbitals. Now let us talk about 3D x square minus y square and 3D z square. Now you can easily understand here there are no planes left, but if you clearly see x-axis, z-axis and y-axis remaining, I mean these loops or these orbitals are on the plane, not on the axis. That means what is remaining here is the respective axis. There are 3 axes, x, y, and one more I can show separately here as z. So I can easily tell you that these planes are already utilized here, but what about the axis? Axis is not utilized, so that means I can utilize them now like this by using 2 dumbbell like this, 2 dumbbells. So this is what called as dx square minus y square. So I am using 3 here just because it is about third shell. Otherwise, wherever I talk about d subshell, then you can simply take this as dxy, this as dyz, and this as dxz, and this as dx square minus y square. You must be wondering where they belong. So it is very difficult to tell you in 2-dimensional way where they belong, but you just remember for that matter, because we are not going to study in detail about that. So remember, these 2 dumbbells are on the axis. So how these 2 are different? Here 2 dumbbells are on the plane and there 2 dumbbells are on the axis. Now definitely both the axes are got utilized there, so only z axis is remaining. So now I'm going to use z axis here and I'll show the dumbbell like this. And we know double dumbbell we have to show, but in this case you have to remember you cannot provide 2 complete dumbbells. One will be a ring type of structure like this. That means one is dumbbell type, another is like a tube or like a tire that is surrounded this particular dumbbell. Now there are some questions asked like this is the only orbital, that is dz square, which does not contain 2 dumbbell. Rest all are having 2 dumbbells. In d subshell only dz square is not having complete 2 dumbbells. So there is quite different change also in the dumbbell. So now you may be thinking like why I need to have this complex structure inside the atom. Remember, this is quantum mechanical model. Here we are going to use coordinates. So remember students, in this case what you have to understand is, once nucleus is at the center, rest all that three-dimensional space must be utilized for the revolution of electron. Now how we are going to utilize that is, we cannot see only based on the coordinates, otherwise only by using the mathematics you can understand. Think of a situation if one pen is present here. You guys are very much aware that the location of the pen can be found by just using the values of x, y and z. I can reach till here by using the value of x and y and z, since it is existing in 3 dimension. Similarly, even if I consider this atom, this as an atom, and all this area is available for electron to revolve. Now what I can do by using mathematics, I can make electrons to revolve in a certain way, so that I can fix maximum electrons inside the nucleus. And why I need to fix maximum electrons? Because they are got attracted towards nucleus. So this is one of the options that we can get, that how we can accommodate 10 electrons in different way. So 2 electrons in this particular plane by using all the 4 quadrants, and another 2 electrons by using these 4 quadrants. So another 2 electrons by using these 4 quadrants. Then axis left behind there. So in this case I am using x-axis and y-axis. So x-axis, one dumbbell here and another dumbbell here collectively, and one more dz square. So this is z square. So dumbbell will be like this, and this tube will be just revolving z axis. Why I need to draw like this? Because in mathematics, if you think, that is the only one place where mathematically that part left behind. Like think of a situation, you are simply filling the, let us say, cotton inside a box. There may be some place left behind. So similarly, when you fix up all the electrons in different axes and different planes, and that particular circular or that tube type of area left behind, so that's why scientists believe that one electron, that 2 electrons which come here, they may revolve like this. Now don't believe that when I say dz square containing 1 electron, that means it is only having this dumbbell shape, it is not having this tube shape. There is nothing like that. Even if there is only 1 electron, it will cover all this area, 3-dimensional space. So that means it will revolve in dumbbell manner. Now let's move to next shell, that is n equal to 4. N equal to 4, according to Bohr model, it is called as n, and he said that there are 32 electrons accommodate in 4th shell, but he did not say how they are distributed. Quantum mechanical model says that these 32 electrons are distributed in 4 different subshells. One is S, P, D, and the 4th subshell will be called as F. Now we are already knowing about S, which occupies maximum 2, P we know maximum 6, D maximum 10. So 2 plus 6, 8, 8 plus 10, 18. So if I subtract 18 out of this, 14 remains. So that means 4th subshell, that is F, occupies 14 electrons. Now S we know as spherical in shape, P we know exists in the form of dumbbells, that of D we've just now seen double dumbbell, and that of F becomes very difficult to understand in 2D or very difficult to imagine. So that's why we call them as difficult or complex. So of course there is a proper shape for F also, but we cannot easily imagine or understand by using normal phenomena which are occurring in the nature. We have to use some supercomputer or the simulations to understand the shapes of that. And if you want some information, I can tell you like this. Like till now what all we have used axis, we have used plane, but we have not used something like this. Something dumbbell coming at this situation, like it is using neither axis nor plane, but it is using all the 3. So that means you can think of dumbbell like this, but they are, it's difficult to say here, but think of they are coming in this direction, or this one only. So think of this, look at this one, and its opposite is here. Similarly this one, its opposite is here. Okay, this one and its opposite is here. This one and its opposite is here. You can think of four dumbbells, I guess you can easily understand. So look at this is one box, this is another box, and this is third one, and this is fourth one. So just above this there are 4 boxes, below this there will be 4 boxes, so 8 boxes. Each box will have half lobe of a dumbbell, that means 4 dumbbells. So no need to understand this at this level, but I'm just trying to making you to understand that how it complex it will be to understand in 2-dimensional way. So that's why we are not going to study about that in detail. We will be understanding it as the shape is very complex, very difficult. Now after understanding SPD, you can easily say here, to accommodate 2 electrons, S had 1 orbital. To accommodate 6 electrons, P had 3 orbitals. And to accommodate 10 electrons, D had 5 orbitals. In that case, if you see F has to accommodate 14 electrons, that means it must contain 7 orbitals. So I will write this S as with 4, that becomes 4s. And this is P. P will contain 3 orbitals, that will be 4px, 4py and 4pz. Then D comes here. D will have 5 orbitals. In this case, that will be 4dxy, 4dyz, 4dxz, sorry, xz, correct, xz, 4dx square minus y square, 4dz square. So see, one thing you have to remember that I've told in the beginning also, filling these, all the 5 orbitals are equally approachable as per electrons perspective or as per electron sphere. That's why you can fill anywhere. Even you can name in any manner. So that is my habit, that I will write xy in the beginning, yz later, and xz like this. It doesn't mean that you have to name them in this order. You can name in any way. Why? Because even electron does not see whether it has to fill in this or this, and we don't need to see, we have to write in any order. So any order is fine. Anything can be written first. In this case also, we have the habit of writing x, y, z in this way, but it doesn't mean that you cannot write x, z here. You cannot write z here. You can write y here, so that is fine. So after that D, so we have to write F. So F must contain 7 orbitals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 orbitals. Now here the situation is becoming so complex that you don't need to learn their names also. That becomes very difficult. So we are not going to learn their names. Only till D we are going to learn their names of the orbital. Now, as I told you, the filling will be filling 1 electron here, thereafter pairing that. In this case, it is not the case. You have to fill 1 electron in each orbital, then you have to pair them. Similarly, same thing goes here. So filling 1 electron in each orbital first, then you can start pairing them. In any order you can do that. So same goes here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Anyway you can fill, 1 electron you have to fill first. Then you can start pairing them like this. So this is how you have to fill the electrons in F subshell. Now remember, each box will be represented as orbital. So when I say F orbital, remember this, most of the time people get confused here. So F subshell, if I say, I am talking about all of them. But when I say F sub S orbital, that time I am talking about any one of them. So remember, maximum electrons can be accommodated in F subshell is 14. Maximum electrons can be accommodated in F orbital is only 2. For that matter, any orbital, if you consider any orbitals, any box here you are considering, they can accommodate a maximum 2 electrons. That can be S, that can be P, that can be D or F, anything. Okay, I hope you are getting this. Now, since all the 4 subshells are present in 4th shell, I can call them as 4s, 4p, 4d and 4f. So this is what you have to remember for 4th one. When I go to next shell, let's say n equal to 5, this will be KLMNO, O shell. Now, according to Bohr model, it is said that 2n square formula will be followed to fill the electrons in any given shell. That means you have to get the number of shell number as n here. In this case, you can see shell number as n. If I use 2 into 4 square is 16. 16 2s are 32. So that is how we got this. But it won't applied, or otherwise it will remain invalid when you go for n equal to 5. Because when you fill n equal to 5, then 5 square is 25. 25 into 2, 50. That means you have to fill 50 electrons in fifth shell, but it is not the case. What quantum mechanical model says that in any coordinates for that matter, even after using all the three coordinates, maximum 32 electrons can be accommodated. So inside the atom, maximum 32 electrons can be accommodated. What does that mean? So think of a situation, if you want to fill people inside some fixed location, then there will be some capacity of that. So that's what the 32 electrons, because we have to make sure that they are not, repelling with each other. Here also, if you even after using axes, planes and all these areas, now nothing is left behind to accommodate extra electrons. So that means in a spherical manner we filled electrons, in dumbbell manner in axis we filled electrons, in planes also we filled electrons, in the remaining part, that this one also we got filled with F. So there is no other place left now inside the atom, or in terms of angle I'm saying there is no rest angle left, so that you can make one electron extra revolve around the nucleus there. So that's why quantum mechanical model says that maximum 32 electrons can be filled inside the atom at that particular distance by using different subshells. So that means if you are able to use only 32 electrons, then number of subshell will remain same. That means they will be distributed only in the form of S, P, D and F. S is spherical, P is dumbbell, D is double dumbbell and F is in a very complex manner. So after that you cannot think of any extra space left there to revolve electron in a different manner. So since this S, D, F remaining same, so then their shapes also will remain same and their orbital arrangement also will remain same. Only changing here is that shell has been changed. So since shell has been changed, you can think of electronic configuration like this: 5s, 5p, 5d and 5f. Remember here, so whenever you see S, so maximum 2 electrons can be filled. Whenever you see P, maximum 6 electrons can be filled. D means 10, F means 14. So this is what you have to remember. S, that may be 2s, 1s, 4s, 5s. Maximum 2 electrons can be filled because they are the electrons revolving in a spherical manner. That means spherically you can only fix 2 electrons. P, Px, Py, Pz. So there are only 3 axes. So that means maximum 6 electrons. D, dumbbell as well as x square minus y square and z square. So plane, you can use plane and this particular planes also. F, 14. So we are not going to understand that, but blindly you just understand there will be 14 electrons and 7 orbitals. So this will remain same even if you go further, like n equal to 6 if you go, K, L, M, N, O, P, and this will remain 32 electron. If it is remaining 32, then the number of subshell will remain same. So S, P, D, F, and their shapes will remain same, their arrangement will remain same, but this will become 6S, 6P, 6D and 6F. Now if you ask me how these are different in terms of size, if I talk about 3S, definitely it is spherical, but when I compare that with the 4S, shape will remain same but of bigger size. 3S and 4S will be of this size, let us say, and 5S further bigger, 6S will become further bigger. The shape will remain same, only the length from the nucleus or distance from the nucleus will become bigger, and the radius, that means radius will become bigger. Here also same thing. If I talk about, let us say, X and Y, let us say 3p is like this. 3p is of, let us say, of this size. This is, let us say, 3p or 2p for that matter, because 2p is the starting p orbital. 2p. Now what you have to do is, now you have to have 3p that of bigger size, like this is 3p. Now 4p again coming the same axis but of bigger size. Now this is 4p. That is how it will increase its length. Otherwise remain same, because as you increase the shell number, size has to increase. Atom is becoming now bigger. So let's go till n equal to 7. So this is Q, 32 electrons maximum. So they can be distributed in S, P, D, F. So since we are not going to change their shell their shapes, they will remain same, even arrangement will remain same, so but this will become 7s, 7p, 7d and 7f. So this is how that electronic configuration will change. Now one thing you have to remember here, that as you increase the shell number of orbitals subshell will remain same, only their length will change as per this. Now 2n square formula is only valid till n equal to 4. It won't go good in n equal to 5, 6 and 7. This thing you have to remember, because here onwards that will remain 32 electrons. Since it is remaining same, number of subshell won't change. But what quantum mechanics says that in future, if there is a situation where you have to increase the subshells, number of subshells, that means if you want to maximize the number of subshells, otherwise if you want to add more subshells inside the atom, if there is some situation occurs like that, then what is the situation and what will be the name of that? So quantum mechanical model says that after F, if we wanted to add any subshell, then it will go as per alphabetical manner. That means after F, G will come as a subshell, H will come as a subshell. That's how it is going to happen. But this is what theory says. But in practical situation, we don't believe that there will be other subshells apart from these 4. But you remember, by theory, we know theory won't stop at moment. So when you say something in a mathematical way, mathematics doesn't stop. So that means you have to show some continuity. Even in here also, I'm not stopping at n equal to 7. That may go further. Maybe practically it is not present there, but you can think of it being, if you cannot stop at n equal to 7. That means people may ask questions like, why you're stopping at n equal to 7? It is not the case. So here also I need to show the continuity, that n shell number can increase. Similarly, even subshell also I need to show the continuity, though there is no subshell. That continuity I'll show by saying that the names of the subshell will go now as per alphabetical way. So after F, G will come, H will come, I, J, K, like that it will go. But remember, shell numbers are always in capital letter, that have subshells always in small letter. So G, H, like that it goes. So one more thing you might have pointed out here, S containing 2 electrons, P containing 6 electrons, there is an increase of 4. D containing 10 electrons, again there is increase of 4 electrons. F containing 14 electrons. So 2 plus 4 is 6, 6 plus 4 is 10, 10 plus 4 is 14. Now question can be asked, like, if let us say G subshell exists, then how many electrons it can accommodate? So by looking at this pattern, you can say if there is a G subshell, then it must contain how much? 18 electrons. You can see the pattern there. So mathematics is followed. So you can think of 18 electrons. Now if the question is like how many suborbitals it may contain, look at this. To accommodate 2 electrons, there is only 1 orbital. To accommodate 6 electrons, there are 3 orbitals. To accommodate 10 electrons, there are 5 orbitals. To accommodate 14 electrons, there are 7. So similarly, to accommodate 18 electrons, there must be 9 orbitals. So this is by theory we have to assume. Similarly, if I go further, like let us say H, you have to say that there